As you can tell of the anger in the beginning of this video, yes, we are at the top 7, yep, worst films that I saw this year. Why only 7, Tony? Because I didn't see a lot of films that came out this year. I wanted to say this too in my top 10 best of the year. I didn't see all the films, and some films I decided not to see. Like, I didn't see Resident Evil. I knew that was gonna be shit. I didn't see Silent Hill. I knew that was gonna be shit. I didn't see The Three Stooges. I didn't see Piranha 3 Double D, thank God. It didn't come out in my local theater, so I'm like, ooh, past that one. So I didn't see a lot of shitty films this year. But the ones I did see, they will be mentioned, and there are only 7 of them, but still. A top list is still a top list, right? And let's start off, shall we? Number 7 on the list is Dark Shadows. This movie really disappointed me. It let me down, and it made me think, man, Johnny Depp, you really need to stop playing these weird eccentric characters. Just play a normal role for once. This was the first time ever that I watched a Johnny Depp film, and I was like, yeah, the silliness and the wonkiness, could you stop? Like, enough. Stop being so zany and silly. Play a normal role for once. I would love to see that, Johnny. And not only that, the characters, I didn't give a shit about any of them. And some of the story plot lines, they get dropped on a dime. And there's a twist in the movie that I didn't see coming. I was like, that's not unnecessary. That was unnecessary. And the problem that I had with that was because it never was hinted at. They never really talked about. It just felt like a shoehorned in like a twist. And I was like, why? It didn't serve any main reason to the plot. It didn't even help in the end. Like, it was whatevers. And all sorts of things just happened at the end that I was just like, no, fuck this. Number 6 is Contraband. Yeah, I apologize for the shakiness of the earlier scene, but that's exactly what Contraband was like to me. It's all this shaky cam, fast cut editing, and I was like, oh, my head, it hurts. All this nonsensical shaky cam and fast cuts, and there'd be scenes where like you just be like they're just walking and talking, and then they automatically just cut again to another angle. I was like, that doesn't feel necessary. The characters, they're all cliche, they're all dull and uninteresting. You don't give a damn. There's like 3 action scenes in the movie. All of them executed terribly. Mark Wahlberg was probably the only reason I enjoyed this movie, although he still talks the way he talks, like, hey, I'm gonna come for you, okay? Stay right there. I'm gonna go. Okay, you wanna get me drugs? Okay, I'll go get drugs. He does that all the time, and I didn't care about the film. It was so dull and uninteresting. I don't know how it made the #1 spot. I guess because, you know, it's a January film. They'll watch anything, I guess. If you put Mark Wahlberg on it, they'll definitely go run and see it. But for me, it was just an unenjoyable time, and it was so dull and uninteresting, and the shaky cams pissed me off so much. Number 5 is The Devil Inside. Now let's forego the fact that they try to highlight this as a true story, which bullshit, it's not. Let's forget about, you know, the terrible ending, but let's look at it as a whole. It's still a piece of shit. The acting for me was terrible, and the story was unconvincing and unengaging. I didn't really get into the story. And there are scenes where, you know, they try to make it seem like it's based on true events and it's like real-time story. There's this one scene where she's talking to her mom, and there is a camera literally on the wall, like a surveillance camera. And there's a cameraman in there with them, but in the surveillance camera, you don't see the cameraman at all. There's no cameraman. So, in my sense, they staged it, which means it's not based on a true story. They just want it to be based on a true story. Or as they say, it's inspired by a true story. No, it's not. If it was, where's the footage of it? Where is all the stuff? And then we got the ending. One of the biggest what the fuck endings, or like fuck you endings. It's a fuck you ending, definitely. It ends to the point where you're like, really? That's how it ended? Literally, when that ended, people booed and threw popcorn at the screen. Literally threw, I wish I had my camera so I could have recorded it, but people booed. It was that bad. Number 4, it just wouldn't be a top 7 worst of list without a Nicolas Cage film, Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance. what can I say? I didn't like the movie. It wasn't fun. It wasn't enjoyable. I think the only reason I liked the film was because Nick Cage and Idris Elba were in the film. They were the most enjoyable parts. But the reason I really didn't like the Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance is because the Ghost Rider barely did anything. The first time you see the Ghost Rider, all he does is... I mean, he really didn't do much of anything, and all the action scenes in the movie are in the trailer, so if you've seen the trailer, you've seen the movie, you don't need to see anything more. It's just a dull and uninteresting experience. You really shouldn't watch it. The only reason I think you should watch it is if you really enjoy Nick Cage and all of his zany antics, then definitely go give that one a watch. And now we get to the top 3, and these are probably the most diabolical, worst films of the year, definitely. And starting off with number 3, breaks my heart to say this, Taken 2. I fucking hated this film. I was so excited to see it. I was anticipating it because I thought that it could handle, because it was a different story. It wasn't the whole like, oh, my daughter got kidnapped again, I gotta go save her. They didn't do a whole Hangover 2 thing. They did an entirely new story following these characters trying to get revenge on the death of their sons. And I thought, okay, that's interesting. But in trying something new, they handled it in such a shitty way and they failed so fucking epically. I mean, there are so many things wrong with this film. Like, let's talk about the daughter throwing bombs off of rooftops and the police are nowhere to be found. No one even thought about calling the police, or like helicopters flying around like looking for the suspect. And speaking of helicopters, all the fucking helicopter shots, my god, were they so annoying and pointless. There are helicopter shots of scenes that doesn't even need to be there. And let's talk about Brian Mills and his daughter crashing into the US Embassy, and they don't like give them a barrage of bullets when they're just like, they're literally sitting there and no one even thinks about like blowing them up. If that was the real US Embassy, they wouldn't even had a chance to make that phone call that they made in the car. They would have blown that shit up like The Godfather. And like I said, there are so many things wrong with this film. Naming them all would just take too long, and it's just a waste of time, and I don't want to talk about this film anymore. It really just aggravated me and pissed me off and made me sad to even think that this film even exists, because I had such high hopes for this movie, and it just let me down in every aspect. The only good redeeming part of this movie is Liam Neeson himself. And Liam Neeson, you're breaking my heart, man. You're such a great actor. You deserve better than this. Why are you in such piece of shit movies? And speaking of Liam Neeson being in piece of shit movies, number 2, Battleship. This is one of the 2 movies this year that I gave a 0 out of 5 stars. The story was shit. The characters are unlikable and unrelatable. You really don't give a damn about any of them. The aliens don't do nothing but stand around and go. They never leave Hawaii. If this is an alien invasion, they should have took over the entire world. Why stay in Hawaii? Why not destroy Hawaii? They just stood there. What was the main plan? What was the whole concept of the thing? Then, not only that, the biggest offense of this movie is the fact that nobody uttered the lines, "You sunk my battleship." How the hell do you have a movie called Battleship and not have that freaking line? That is a memorable line from the game itself. Yes, they put in the whole buoy thing like, oh, D7, F11. They put that in, but why the hell not say, "You sunk my battleship"? Damn it, come on. And Taylor Kitsch. And now we get to number 1. And if you guys didn't guess what it is, it's pretty damn obvious what it is, because I said I only gave 2 movies 0 out of 5 stars, and I already mentioned one of them, and here's the other one that I gave a 0 out of 5 stars, The Cold Light of Day. My god, there is a reason why nobody heard about this movie. There's a reason why this movie didn't get any buzz. This movie is shit! From the minute this movie started, it was doomed to fail because off the bat, I didn't like Henry Cavill. His acting to me was terrible, and this gets me a little worried now for what will become of the Man of Steel. Will he bring his A game, or will he be just another bland actor playing Superman? And if that's the case, oh my god, I'm a little worried for Man of Steel. The only thing this movie had going for it is that Bruce Willis and Sigourney Weaver were in it, and that didn't even save the movie. In fact, Bruce Willis was barely in the movie. Let's not even talk about how there was a scene where it was literally shot. It was shot in the daytime. There was light. You could tell it was daytime, and they just tinted it to make it look dark. You know how we can tell? Who wears sunglasses at night? So I can. Sorry, I just had to do it. I just felt like the situation called for me to make a reference to that song. But seriously, who wears sunglasses at night? I'm pretty sure that the actors thought that this was taking place in the daytime, and then the director, editor, whatever the fuck who was handling it, said, you know what, let's make it in the nighttime instead. Who made that call? That guy needs to get slapped in the face, because that was a terrible call. The acting is terrible. The action scenes are dull and uninteresting. And the twist, there's a twist in the movie. They're stupid. This movie is just shit, and it should never exist ever. It is a terrible movie, and it is the #1 worst film of 2012. I felt so embarrassed to be in this theater with the other 7 people watching it. We wasted our money and we wasted our damn time. So those are my top 7 worst films that I saw in 2012, and let me know what were the worst films that you saw this year. Top 10, top 7, top 5. Comment below and let me know. Also stay tuned, I'll be doing my top 10 best animes of 2012. Now this is not best animes as in animes that came out in 2012, but the best animes that I saw this year personally in 2012. Like there are animes that I saw that didn't come out in 2012, but I saw them in 2012, and you guys asked for it, and I'm gonna deliver my promise of the top 10 best animes I saw in 2012 and the worst animes I saw in 2012. And until then, hit that subscribe button, like this video if you enjoyed it. I'm Tony Walton II from the Black Critic Guy, bridging the gap between movies and anime reviews. Till then, peace YouTube.